So on my last live, I guess the sound quality was low. I don't know. They couldn't hear me. Um, yeah. So what was I talking about? You know, I have a cleaning business and I very much want to help those who suffer with keeping their home clean for a variety of reasons. If you don't suffer with keeping your home clean, I would love to help you as well. Um, maybe if you don't struggle with keeping your home clean, I would like to help you as well. So, um, I've talked about those suffering from postpartum depression. I've talked about a variety of things. What am I here talking about today? It's a little bit different. Growing up, my maternal grandmother, at least I think, as an adult now, I think she suffered from a little bit of self-hate. I believe she knew who she was, and she also suffered from self-hate. Now, when I was like in my early teens, late teens, early 20s rather, I thought she suffered from self-hate as well as not knowing who she was. Growing up, I was told by her, she wasn't black. I remember her saying that. My grandmother was not black. Phenotypically, she looked black to me. She was black presenting, okay, to me. She would go on to tell us in the summertime she's running away from the sun because she didn't want to get black. I'm like, that kind of makes no sense because you are a black woman. She didn't want to get darker, is what she meant. She was a little lighter than I am, lighter complexion. She had hair, her hair texture, coils were way looser than mine's. I would say mine's is about a 4C, hers maybe a 3C. She would go on to tell us she was not black, she was Indian. And she also she had Afrocentric features, lips, nose, African American features. Her husband, my maternal grandfather, I was told his grandfather was African. I believe it was his grandfather, if I remember correctly. I was told his grandfather was African. And when I asked my grandfather this, he confirmed it. In fact, his grandfather was African. I'm like, okay, Grandpa, you say your grandfather was African. I think you would know better than I do, And this was before I did any research as to who anybody was. Before I begin to research for myself, I would say. This before I would only listen to what the educators told me. I was listening to them, anybody who looked like me, my hair texture, my phenotype, everybody who looked like me was directly from Africa. Their ancestors had to come from Africa. I didn't know that predating Columbus's arrival to the Americas, the Africans, what they call Africans today, and the indigenous, the American people, and when I say American, I mean the Americas, North, South, Central America. They circumnavigated the globe, okay? The Caribbeans circumnavigated the globe. Those who lived on those land masses and islands. I didn't know that. I also was unaware that my grandfather's grandfather was born in America. Not only that, his grandparents. So, my grandfather was born in America. His parents, my grandfather's parents, were born in America. Okay? My grandfather's grandparents were born in America, and so on and so forth, predating Columbus's arrival. So, that leads me to at least believe that in some respects, my grandmother was right. She was, in fact, indigenous to this landmass. Not only that, my grandfather was wrong. He was, in fact, indigenous to this landmass. And we all know, well, we may not know. I know now, through research and studying and reading, that when an enslaved person was enslaved, oftentimes they were stole from a free area. You know, the what is it called? Of course, yes, some were stole from Africa, and then some was stolen from the Americas. Meaning that, let's say you lived in New York and you was free. You could have been stolen from your family and brought to another part of the United States, okay? And then enslaved. We all know that during enslavement, families were separated. Excuse me. So, I don't know for sure, meaning I did not speak to my grandfather's grandfather, of course, because, you know, he was, he passed away prior to my birth. But I know that oftentimes it was, your name was beat into you and beat out of you. Meaning that my last name, Johnson, very likely would have been something else. It would have been something else because Johnson is a European last name. Now, what would it have been? I don't know. Because it was beat out of my ancestor. In that last live, I also forgot to say and mention in with the, what is it called? The business coaching I received. There was quite a few people who was like, "Oh, Candida, hide the fact that you're black and you own the business." No. Can't hide that because you're gonna get more money, because if you put a white person presenting face on your business, there will be more people likely to service your business. No, I'm black and I'm proud. Okay? I'm indigenous and I'm proud. And another thing is homelessness. Throughout my childhood, my adulthood, I went through periods of being homeless, living in hotels, living with family members. why am I saying all this? What's the point of all this, Candida? Well, because my current project, I'm working on an apparel line. And I want to help an organization who helps those in any one of the circumstances that I just mentioned. Okay? Is there a homeless shelter? I would love if I could find a homeless shelter that helps women. I would love if I could find an organization that helps those who find out their lineage, their true lineage. Is there an organization that can help people learn the language that was stolen from them? Can I learn my Nipmuc language? Or is that completely forgotten? Is there anybody out there who speaks fluent Nipmuc? Back to the business. 10% of all book sales will go to the Ziax Institute. Okay? From now until June 9th. Okay? 15% of all merch and digital downloads will go to Our Mommy Village, the Ziax Institute, and Mama Primitiva. Those three organizations, because I love the work that I think they're doing. If I love the work that I think an organization is doing, they may be added to the list. 15% to split will be divided amongst the organizations. The Ziax Institute will receive 10%, an additional 10% of all book sales. All let's go back. All book sale profits, okay, and that's the same thing for the 15% of the digital products and merch. 15% of all profits, okay, and those organizations. Let's say someone purchases 500 books, physical books. Okay, you purchase 500 physical books. 10% of that will go to an organization of your choice, with approval. Okay. 10% of all cleaning services will go to an organization of your choice, pre-approval. You know, I love the scripts because I remember what I want to say sometimes. Sometimes. This is very unscripted. I feel like I'm missing something. Think Candida. If you know of anybody, okay, I know. The signature challenge. It is my belief and opinion that housekeeping is a medical necessity. If you are postpartum, you just had a baby, you're about to have a baby, please go to my website, check the link in the bio, sign the signature challenge. I believe anybody who is pregnant will be interested in this. If you just had a baby, I think you should get the services up to 6 weeks, at least up to 6 weeks of postpartum. And maternity leave, I believe, should be at least a year. If you had if you're recovering from any surgery, I think you should get housekeeping for 6 weeks. If you're elderly and you live at home, I think you should get housekeeping services. And I think this all should be covered with your medical insurance. That's all in the signature challenge. There's things that's not in the signature challenge form. Like my eldest daughter pointed out, after her surgery, she could have received it. And I'm like, well, I was the one doing the cleaning. You didn't need it. But when you think about it, she didn't need it, but I needed it. Why did I need it? Because I'm busy taking care of her. So to lessen the lessen the chance of becoming overwhelmed, she could have received free housekeeping services, and then she would have been that much better off. If you know of anybody like that, sign the signature challenge. 100,000 signatures is what we're going for. 100,000 videos is what we're going for. 100,000 comments. Okay? We would love for this thing to go viral, because right now it is a silent problem. And if we scream to the rooftops, figuratively and literally, they will know. I'll be sending all of this. Yeah, all of this will go to elected officials from the top down. Okay? There is an event that I'm working on. I want it to be like once a week. We'll see. I don't know how realistic that will be. Once a week for July and August. Okay? Food, crafts. You build your own, you create your own craft with no teacher, because I am not crafty. Though I think that would be fun for the kids. What else? Again, I feel like there should be something else. I don't know. But share, like, and comment. Tag a friend or two. Buy my book and the merch. Share, like, and comment. Thank you. No, I do believe so. I told you I'd be forgetting. So, yeah. What are we saying now? Back to, I think I said it. I don't know. My head hurts. So, if I would love to support organizations like anything Afrocentric, anything working with indigenous or some kind of combination, working with moms. I'm thinking homeless shelter or a mixture of something like that. Share, like, comment, tag a friend or two.